Hi everyone, this is Marianne and welcome to my channel. I bought and unboxed this Kindle Paperwhite in November of last year. The video will be linked down below. This is the black version with a 6.8-inch screen and with a storage of 8 gigabytes. And I have been using this heavily for almost all things that I want to read and need to read. You have seen me read on this Kindle on my silent Read With Me videos, some of which I will link down below. And I've really been enjoying this Kindle Paperwhite, and I don't even miss physical books and papers and journals at all. But I am really not surprised. Before this Kindle Paperwhite, I was on the Kindle Touch, which I bought in 2012, and I really enjoyed that too. I know a Kindle is always a good thing to buy because I love reading. I have been a voracious reader ever since I was a child. But because I am also a writer and a graduate student, I also need to read. So I really read a lot, and I make it a point to carve out large chunks of reading time every single week. I have been using this Kindle Paperwhite for almost a year now, and it seems to be Kindle season these days, what with the release of the new Kindles, including the color soft version. So I thought today it would be nice to share my review of my own little Paperwhite by discussing the top things that I like about it. This is the case that I have been using with my Kindle. I really like the design because this little girl is Assumpta. Well, I just call her Assumpta. And Assumpta is one of the main characters of my novel, The Maps of Camarines, which is available on Amazon. I will link it down below. And Assumpta is also me when I was a child. So the design of this cover really resonates with me. I also like that it's very protective because of the cover here, and the cover is also a smart cover. When I open the cover, it turns the screen on, so I don't need to press the button at the bottom of the Kindle just to start reading. And the case is all hard, all around. I do have another case, which is this clear case with a built-in stand, which I think looks super pretty with this photo that I just printed from Unsplash. And I did use this cover for a few weeks when I was mostly sick and never left the house. I even got a matching padded zippered pouch for it. But because my normal life when I'm not sick is mostly chaotic and my bag is always a mess, I always use the Assumpta case inside this padded zippered pouch just to make sure I don't wreck the screen. So anyway, let's talk about the Kindle itself by talking about the top things that I like about it. This list is in no particular order. The first thing that I like about this Kindle Paperwhite is the screen size, the resolution, and the higher contrast. Now, I know those are three different features of the Kindle, but I will lump them together because they all relate to ease of reading. This is the version with a 6.8-inch screen, like I said, which was the largest screen available at that time. The resolution of this Paperwhite is 300 ppi, which is not that much of a difference when I'm reading a Kindle ebook because we can enlarge the font with these. But the higher resolution combined with the higher contrast is especially great when I'm reading PDFs of academic papers, which I prefer not to enlarge because enlarging messes with the framing of the page, and I feel dizzy when I have to pan left to right with every line. But with a 300 ppi resolution, even if the fonts end up so small, I can still read it easily, no problem at all. The next thing that I like about this Kindle Paperwhite is the front light. It is so convenient to have it built in, and it also helps a lot in making the page appear very clear and the fonts appear very crisp and readable. Combined with the higher resolution, higher contrast, and the largest screen size, it's really a very nice reading experience. The next thing that I like about this Kindle Paperwhite is the warm light setting. I read a lot, many times in bed, and I also struggle with sleep, so having a warm light option is supposed to be helpful instead of the blue light that science says prevents us from getting to sleep. But to be honest, even the warm light setting does not put me to sleep. Maybe something is wrong with me, I don't know. But I have noticed that I do get less eye strain with the warm light, so there's that. We can even schedule when the warm light should kick in. I always have this to some degree of warmth, but I have set the warmth to become automatically slightly deeper or more yellow at around 10 p.m. until 5 a.m. I'm usually still up reading at that time, so it's nice to not have to pause my reading just to manually make the light warmer. It's also a nice form of alert for me that it's already 10 p.m. when the light becomes warmer, and when the light becomes less warm, I become aware that it's already 5 a.m. There is a clock at the top of the screen that I always turn on, but I hardly even look at that even when I'm reading. The next thing that I like about this Kindle Paperwhite is the storage space. This is the version that can carry 8 gigabytes worth of books and files, and I already have a ton of books on here, but it's not yet completely full. I do have a video short explaining why I chose the 8 gigabytes instead of the larger storage ones, and I will link that video down below. But just to be comprehensive in this video, let me just explain anyway. I chose the 8 gigabytes because my entire ebook library is almost 40 gigabytes in size. They cannot all fit in here anyway, even if I had bought the 32 gigabyte version. And based on my years of experience with a Kindle, if a Kindle is filled to maximum capacity, it slows down. Page turning slows down. Scrolling through your library slows down. It's very annoying. It affects reading experience. So I don't really use this Kindle for storage. I use this Kindle to temporarily hold my TBR. And as soon as I finish reading a book, I delete it from here because I have the permanent storage of my full, complete ebook library elsewhere. I did get by on the 4 gigabyte Kindle Touch, but I read so much more now. My TBR is humongous. But because this Kindle has enough space for me to leave unused, then this Kindle is still very fast and responsive. The next thing that I like about this Kindle Paperwhite is the lack of a raised bezel. I know this sounds strange, but coming from the Kindle Touch for so long with a raised bezel, holding this Kindle with a totally flat front panel is really nice in my opinion. It feels more high-tech and it feels more posh, more contemporary. I also like that the bezel is smaller all around. And by the way, this bezel has a matte black skin on it, which I absolutely needed because I stupidly dropped something small but sharp on this Kindle early on, which scratched the bezel a tiny bit in this part, and I could see it every time I read, so I just decided to cover it up. The next thing that I like about this Kindle Paperwhite is that it is water resistant. I don't read around water like the beach or the pool, not yet, at least. And I don't read while in the bathtub. I don't have a bathtub. And I have trained myself successfully to not spill any food or drinks on my devices. Knock on wood, but it's nice to know that liquid related accidents will be one less problem for me if they ever do happen. The next thing that I like about this Kindle Paperwhite is the battery life, of course. Kindles are known to have really, really long battery life. I read so much, averaging maybe 15 hours to 20 hours a week, but I don't even charge this Kindle once a week. But really, the Kindle's promise to have a super long battery life, it is true. The next thing that I like about the Kindle Paperwhite and all Kindles is the built-in dictionary. It is great for learning new words or for clarifying definition of some words and sometimes even for translation of foreign words. It helps with less interruptions in reading. Gone are the days when we have to put a book down and get a dictionary just to look up an unfamiliar word. This built-in dictionary feature would still be an interruption, but it's so much more convenient and time-saving than using a physical dictionary or manually looking up an online dictionary. The next thing that I like about this Kindle Paperwhite, and with the concept of all e-readers in general, is the most important thing, which is that it frees me from having to be anchored to physical books, which requires physical storage, which requires an ample sized room or home, which I actually do not have. Add to that the additional responsibility of having to guard these physical books from damage, which I am not very efficient at. I used to have my own physical library, which I have built slowly over time by buying books when I could afford it from an assortment of sources like book sales, bookstores, and even Amazon itself. I've always had all of my books with me every time I transferred residence, and it was a growing library, so every time I would move, there would be more books to pack. But in December 2022, I discovered that there were actual termites in my books. I have a video about that, which I will link down below. It was a hurtful experience because I do love books, and I thought I was a good, responsible owner of a personal library. But after the termites, I just decided to let go of everything and go completely digital, even with my own planners and journals and notebooks. After all, my good friend Oji Braga did say that access to books is more important than actually owning books, and I strongly agree. I am not and have never been a book collector. I bought and acquired books to read and sometimes to reread, not really to collect. So really, ebooks are just fine. Many books I want to read do not have ebook versions yet, and I still buy those from time to time, but I sell them after I'm done reading. I just don't feel the need or the longing to hold on to physical books anymore. And I do have a final reason, just for fun, just hypothetically, but who knows. The final reason is that just in case I and my tiny little bunker-like blacked out bedroom survive the apocalypse, I can stay in and read on my Kindle like there is no tomorrow because there truly might not be. I just need to find a solar charging power bank so I can charge this Kindle as needed while living in a post-apocalyptic world that will most likely not have any electricity. Because really the only thing to do in a post-apocalyptic world is to stay alive. Assuming that I have access to some food and water that will keep me alive, what else is there to do? Read. Of course, I can also do that with physical books, but just in case I need to move from place to place just to be safe or just to have access to food, I have my Kindle and my solar charging power bank, which I will try to find. Well, this video turned dark all of a sudden. But if you are a huge reader, don't tell me you have not thought about how to survive in a post-apocalyptic world and still be able to read books. If you know, you know. So that's it. Those are the top things that I like about the Kindle Paperwhite. Considering that I like the Kindle so much, will I be buying the Color Soft? No, because I do not read manga or graphic novels on the Kindle. I do read them, but on my laptop, because the full color, full screen still gives the best reading experience for manga and graphic novels. But for traditional novels, the Paperwhite is perfect. Will I be upgrading to the Kindle Scribe? Maybe, but not right away. I don't really need it yet. I plan to enjoy this Paperwhite for several more years. And that is my video for you today. I hope you enjoyed. What do you like most about your e-reader? Let me know in the comments and we will talk. Thanks for watching. Bye.